guys, so the plants have finally arrived. We're going to put these in the tank later. We'll tell you all about what these plants do and how they help with the fish tank's ecosystem.
So this is my uncle and he's going to help us build the fish tank. He's very good at building them and we're just going to set up the plants with him. His name is Uncle Ben. Say hi to him.
Hi guys.
Ben, why are you doing those plants?
I am dividing these plants up into little plantlets. So where they come in a pot like this. And they've got all the wool around the outside, you've got all the nutrients in. When you take all that wool off, you'll notice that actually, rather than just one plant, you've got hundreds of plants in there. So I'm just separating them all out so that we can then plant them into the soil. Because at the back you've got your stem plants and they'll throw down long roots. So you want those at the back. These are your foreground plants. This will take over, but it will fit in a bit like grass. Let's go again. So when you're planting your plants, it's really important that you keep them nice and damp. You don't want them to dry out. And the planting process can take a long time. So you've got to keep spraying every 10-15 minutes. Just make sure that the plants don't dry out, otherwise you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Uncle Ben, what's the name of this plant?
This is a Microsword, so this plant will grow a little bit like a grass. So it's going to form, go right at the front of the tank, it's going to go in between all the rocks and a bit of the ornaments and things. You probably can't see where I've sprayed the tank down. It's going to grow there, it's going to look a little bit like a grass.
Okay. Uncle Ben, can you please give us one more top tip, or maybe...
Yeah, this is a type of Amazon sword, a tricolour, and essentially what I'm doing here is this is the wool that the nutrient-rich wool that the plants come in, and it just means it helps to keep the plants alive while they're being grown and kept in the shop. Essentially, what you want to do is use your tweezers just to gently brush through the roots to try and get as much of that wool out as possible. If you leave that wool in, you're going to have big algae issues and things because there's a lot of nutrients in that wool that you want out, otherwise you're going to have a lot of algae.
Okay, thanks.
So when you're planting a fish tank, your fish tank splits into three. So you've got your foreground plants here, then your midground and then your background plants. They also can split into three this way, or looking for your golden ratio, which is the part where your eye is drawn to. So there are certain parts in the tank where you want to put more ornaments, more plants, because that's where people's eyes are going to be drawn to. So a plant like this, if we're looking for the golden ratio, probably should be about here, just poking up behind this ship, because that's where people's eyes are going to be drawn, and then it will look really cool there.
True. What plant is this and how do they grow?
This is a Java fern, and Java fern are a type of plant called an epiphyte. Epiphyte plants you do not plant into the soil, so they need to be stuck onto a rock or onto some wood, which is where we're going to stick this. You'll see there, this is called the rhizome, and this is the bit that cannot be planted into the soil. If that's covered, the plant will die. So we're going to stick this onto a piece of wood.
Okay, that's very interesting.
So why are there all of these like black bits at the end of each leaf?
So when the Java fern, when the leaf reaches the end of its life, or it just starts to die, or sometimes just matures, what it will do is grow some little baby plants off it. And you'll start to see on the underside some little roots sort of produce, and they're little plantlets that you can then take off and you can stick them to wood and you've got a whole new plant there. So it will just keep reproducing.
How is the fish swim if there's a lot of things?
Very good question. So when you're planting a tank or putting ornaments in a tank, you've got to consider swim room for the fish, because the fish do want space to be able to swim in. So it's tempting to stick a load of ornaments in or a load of plants in. If you don't leave them enough room to swim, they're not going to be happy fish.
Oh, okay.
Uncle Ben, I have another question. What are these capsules used for?
These are nutrient capsules, so these contain lots of plant food in for the plants. There are different ways you can use them. You can insert them with the tweezers underneath the soil, and they're slow release, so after time the nutrients will come out, they'll go into the soil, so it gives you a long time, about a year's worth of nutrients in there. Yeah. Or you can take them out, break them in half and sprinkle them underneath the soil. Again, so it adds a layer of nutrients. We were going to do that, but we forgot. So we're going to insert them in with the tweezers instead.
Okay, that's good. Thanks for the information.
Like here. Like that. Yeah? Happy?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what we'll do, but oh, this is good. This is another top tip. Top tip. When you're sticking the plants into your tank, you'll be really careful and make sure you're using super glue that is safe for aquariums. You can buy special aquarium glue, but the Gorilla Gel glue also works, and it's a bit cheaper. This is when it turns out this is all dry now. And we've got to make an emergency trip to that. Aha!
Oh, this smells like a real jungle.
It's because they're jungle plants.
Oh my!
Uncle Ben, what are these called?
These are an Indian pennywort. This is another good plant to show you the example of just how many plants you get when you buy live plants with the rock ball. Because as soon as you start breaking it up, you can see what looks like one big plant is actually loads of smaller plants.
Uncle Ben, what plant is this one?
This is a Cryptocorinne. Lots of different varieties of Cryptocorinne. One of the things to be careful of is they will get something called crypt melt. So lots of these plants are grown in the shops above water. So when they adapt to their submerged stage, because any plant that grows in a fish tank can also grow out of water in damp conditions, and this plant will lose its leaves. So lots of these are actually for growing out of the water, and they'll melt away. It's called crypt melt, and then they'll be replaced by the plants and the leaves you want. Dead easy, you just remove them.
Okay.
What's the plants gonna grow if there's no soil?
There is soil in there, it just looks different to what it does in the garden. This is called active substrate. So it's got lots of nutrients in there that are going to help the roots to grow. They won't grow in just any old aquarium gravel. You've got to make sure it's an active substrate, or sometimes called an aquarium soil.
Oh,
Makes sense.
This is another crypt. It's Cryptocorinne nevili, which is probably totally wrong because my Latin is rubbish.
Uncle, where are you going to put these?
These are going right at the back, and they will grow really tall and they'll look really cool at the back.
Alright.
So I'm just going to put some of these capsules in where some of the stem plants are, some of the plants that like a little bit more nutrients, just so they've got some for their roots.
So in the last video we were talking about those sponge filters, well now we're going to put them in.
So we've got the sponges for the Rio Dual 180 filter. As you can see, we've used the advice of Pond Guru. If you haven't heard of him, go check his videos out. But we're going to go coarse sponge into a medium sponge and then the fine filter pad at the bottom. It's just going to filter out all of the muck that's going around the fish tank. It's going to clear it out. We're going to put these filters, including the carbon filter, in the bottom layer, but we are actually going to be replacing all of this, apart from the carbon layer, with biomediables once they have arrived.
Put the water in. I've liked it again.
really too hot.
It feels good. What's this blue avatar like liquid?
This is Bioactive Tapsafe. So this is going to take all the chlorine out of the tap, because the chlorine kills all the beneficial bacteria, which is what you want in your fish tank. So it's going to take all the bad things out of the water. And it's bioactive, which means it's already got some of that bacteria in there, ready to go.
Uncle Ben, why are we using this colander?
We use the colander because if you pour the water straight in, all the gravel or the substrate, whatever, will go. So we use the colander, which means all the water spreads out around. It's a tip I learned from an aquascaper called George Farmer. Very good.
And this is now a waiting game. Serious for now. Our light is in the post right now, so it's going to be coming like either tomorrow or day after tomorrow. We don't know. Thank you for watching, guys, and also thank you to Uncle Ben for helping us build this amazing fish tank. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, so then you know whenever we make a new video. Let's go!